Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you, Michael. Thanks for having me back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaijin TV. We got a two-time interviewee, James McKnight, author of Life and Love in the Land of the Rising Sun, Life, Love, and Baseball in the Land of the Rising Sun, and now Bad Foreigner. Could you show us?
Oh, yeah, Bad Foreigner, yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Congratulations. How's it going?
Oh, good. Book's selling pretty well, and meeting a lot of people that like it, and I've read it. They're learning about Japan. They're learning about baseball and traveling around Asia, and I'm really having a good time.
Hey, can you show us
promoting it? Oh yeah. I'm wearing my Hanshin Tigers jersey. You can see here.
There they are.
Just like on the cover, I got this, and I also have my little happy coat in the back that says Dame Gaijin.
Dame Gaijin, nice.
Bad Foreigner. That was the nickname I got. That's where the title of the book came out of. Just because my friends thought I was funny, that I couldn't speak Japanese real well, and sometimes I made some cultural faux pas, and they're like,
absolutely. Well, in what I think is a pretty much post-literate society, it's an actual content creator writing a book these days. That's just fantastic. Congratulations. And how are sales going?
Oh, good. It's Amazon. Sometimes it's slow, but it's on Kindle Unlimited now. So people, if they sign up for Kindle Unlimited, I don't know how much it is, $10 a month or something. You can read as many pages as you like of different books. And I didn't do that with my first book, Kill and Black Fever, but I did it with this one. And people are reading it. I mean, some days people read 500, 600 pages. I don't know where they are or who they are, but it's quite amazing.
You were talking a little bit before about your editing process on the new book.
Yeah, the first one I kind of rushed to get it out, but this one I had a little experience under my belt, so I had some readers, a woman, a man, a young man, a young woman, an old woman. I had some readers read it, give me some feedback, look for little typos, and I think I got it right this time. I'm feeling a lot more confident, and this book has a happier ending than the first one. So, I learned a lot more, and I matured, and I had wisdom on my side. So
that's right. Yeah. I was asking you, how old were you when you moved here?
I moved here when I was 30. I moved to Japan at age 32. So I was more experienced than a lot of my friends there, but living in Japan is a whole nother ball game, if you want to put it in baseball terms. Yeah,
continue the metaphor.
Yeah, I had more patience and some foresight, and I was able to survive there 12 years. So
12 years, that's fantastic. Well, we talk a little bit about culture shock when you moved to Japan. I think I was saying about the 3 stages or initial euphoria, where you're walking around thinking, this is just fantastic. Look at all this new stuff. It's all wild and weird and wonderful. And then there's a bit of blowback when you get like lonely and a little angry and resentful. And the 3rd stage, I believe, was something like a resolution or a coming to terms with living in Japan and accepting, I think, your Mr. Baseball story.
Yeah, I watched Mr. Baseball in 1992. I was in like Lake Charles, Louisiana, watching it in the movie theater, and I was like, God, why is this guy putting up with this? Japan, who cares? And then 10 years later, I'm that guy that's struggling, and I'm like, hey, I'm from America. You need to change everything. You need to change the way you teach these classes. You need to change the way you serve the lunch. I don't like this. And then after a while, they're like, no, we're not changing. No. And I had to adapt and dress like a Japanese, act like a Japanese, and yeah, otherwise hit the highway,
Absolutely. And that's really at our Danjiri, the annual festival for the harvest, when we drag that, I call it a prehistoric parade float.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
2,500 pounds, and we have a happy, but the kanji on it translates to keepers of the culture, which,
Oh, wow.
which is kind of the, oh, I talked a little bit about the hierarchy in Japan, and you were saying about keigo and the polite form of Japanese, where you kind of lower yourself when you're speaking to your uppers, your bosses, your parents' wives, and older folks.
Right. Yeah, that was weird because I had taken a little Japanese here in Arizona before I moved there, just conversational. I was sure it was going to be enough. It wasn't. And then, I started making some male friends that are Japanese. They're like, you talk like an old lady. And I'm like, well, my teacher is an old lady. They're like, you sound just like her. So then I started learning to talk like, a 30-year-old guy. But I didn't know the difference between a 30-year-old construction worker, his lexicon, and that of a
Absolutely.
college student. So sometimes I'd blurt out some Kansai Ben in the teachers lounge. They're like, yeah, we don't talk like that here in Guma. And I'm like, well, that's what my friends speak.
Oh, then,
So I had to learn that like fine line, and it was tough. But like I said, I matured and I never gave up. And Japanese appreciate that. They're like, okay, this guy keeps showing up to work. This guy, they're not going to say it, but they know. They're like, okay, he's not going to be here for just 1 year. He's here for 2. He's here for 3. Maybe he can make it here.
So, and you did 12 years, and we talked a little bit about the transition, just being a basic ALT, assistant language teacher, into your changeover into a more managerial position, was it?
Yeah, I'd been a jet for 3 years. I loved it. It was great. The last year was a little rough because I had to find a new job, and it got down to the Japanese say giri giri, the very last couple of weeks. I thought I was just going to have to go back to America. Oh no, go back to America. Oh. And but then this guy from the Guma Prefectural State Capitol building called me from the Board of Education, said, we liked what you did at the summer orientation. Come on in for an interview. And I found out the interview was only for me. And they're like, you're hired. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm staying another year or 2. And I did. So.
Oh, cool. So you weren't working with JET anymore. You were working with the prefecture, Guma?
Yeah, I became advisor for all the jets. There's about 150. I traveled around to different schools. I helped ALTs with their problems, helped them with lesson plans, helped them with classroom management. I taught at special needs schools as the ALT. I did training programs. I bailed people out of jail. I did all sorts of
Yeah, the word mendo kusai comes to mind, which is mendo kusai is troublesome or bothersome, and
yes,
many times used to describe the Gaijin or working with the Gaijin.
Yeah, you could say that. And yeah, I had to wear a dark suit every day, a tie, even in the summer.
Hey,
And,
did your car have aircon?
My car did, but the office, they kept the aircon at I think it was 84 or 85 degrees to save energy. The cool biz thing.
Cool biz.
Oh my God, talk about it was like a sauna in there. But again, everyone else was completely fine and nobody else complained. They're like, not hot to us. I'm like,
no, they don't complain. Again, if I can go back to the Danjiri once again, I mean, it's hot, it's heavy, it's sometimes raining. And these guys, I'm like, in my mind, like, this sucks. This is, and they're just smiling, never one word of complaint. It's like, "Gambarimashou," like, why? And then
I know that
we get through a whole day of this, and somebody decided at some point back in the history, what are we doing tomorrow? Let's do it again.
Oh my God.
No, not again.
I know. I did that at Kiryu Matsuri in 2003. They had me carry one of the omikoshis.
Okay,
and yeah, it was great. The problem is I'm 6'3", and everyone else is like 5'8".
5'5".
And when we shook it, my shoulder was the first one to get hit, and this thing's weighing like 3,000 pounds, black wood lacquer with gold, gilded gold all over. I mean, loving it, but man, my shoulder was so black and blue, and you know, everyone would take breaks about every 20 minutes to smoke cigarettes and drink hot green tea, and it was like 95 degrees. I survived, but I never wanted to do it again.
Well, that group culture in Japan is so ingrained that, as you said, your body size, we don't fit over here. We're even at 6'3", ducking into doorways, and well, the trains are, I guess, are okay, but
Not bad, yeah.
we're kind of out of place. I talk about playing the Gaijin card. You said your car at one point. Tell me, did you have to take the test when you were transferring your license over to Japanese?
Yeah, unfortunately, I had an international driver's license, and I figured they're never going to check. And then my boss came to me one day. He says, "You can only have an international driver's license for 1 year." I was like, "They're never going to check." He said, "No, you work for us. We're the government.
Yeah.
You can't bend the rules here."
No,
So
no, no,
yeah,
no, no.
I had to buckle down, and I failed the first time, but the second time I passed, and I had to speak Keigo to the instructor and bow deeply, and kind of
I
kiss his
remember
butt, and
seeing
it worked. So
some of the Americans out in Akashi at the DMV were cursing a blue streak because they had to take their test and in Japanese, whereas the Canadians and some of the other foreign countries have a reciprocal agreement with the Japanese government. We could just change it over. In fact, I had my license was just changed, and it was only 6 months old, and they said, no, you have to be driving for, provably drive for over 6 months. I said, dude, I've been driving since I was 16 years old. They're like, well, fortunately, I found an old expired driver's license card, and they said, oh yeah, that one will do. So go figure, the expired card worked, and the new.
That's amazing. I usually that wouldn't happen, but yeah, being able to drive opened up a big world for me. I mean, of course, I don't want to get too much into the romance thing, but I was hoping I could meet a nice British girl or Canadian or Aussie girl, but almost every other ALT was 10 years younger than me. So, I ended up meeting a Japanese gal, and I couldn't drive
correctly.
Yeah, I know I couldn't drive though. So I'm like, she's driving me around, and after like a couple months, she goes, "You know what? I'm not here to serve you. The man's supposed to drive me around." And I'm like,
Totally.
"Oh yeah, that should be right, And I got my license and drove around, and she didn't like the way I drove, but I said, "Hey, honey, I just said drive." So yeah, it did open up a world for me. I met some ladies. I could drive. I had freedom. I wasn't stuck. Like boom, the train stopped running at like 9 o'clock at night. I mean,
Oh really?
yeah.
Yeah,
It's very rural. So if I had a car, I was able to get out and have more freedom. So
you've got us at a beautiful time of year, James. I'm sure you know, having been here for 12 years, the sakura are coming into bloom in Japan. And some people are so crazy about the sakura, they say they'll go down to Kyushu when the early blossoms come, like early March, and then follow the line up the archipelago all the way up to Hokkaido to catch the blossoming sakura as they move up the islands. Have you been up to Hokkaido?
Yeah, I went to Hokkaido for the snow festival. We got on the Pikachu plane. A 747 took us from Haneda to Sapporo Chitose Airport.
747 Pikachu.
Yeah, everyone was so excited. We're like, we're on the Pikachu plane, yay!
Only in Japan, baby.
Yeah, I had a blast. I thought the food up there was amazing. The crab, the sushi, the ramen.
Did you have the dancing squid?
I did not do that.
So they have a bowl of ramen with a fresh squid stuck on the top of it, and then they'll pour some vinegar on it, and then the tentacles will activate. So you're getting slapped.
Poor guy. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I've eaten some shrimp like that jumped off the plate and jumped on people, and I've eaten fish freshly killed, but not the squid.
I was joking about a sashimi I had at a izakaya that was so fresh. It's looking at you with its bloody eyeball and
Oh yeah,
still twitching in the dish. And it's like,
yeah, I know.
exactly,
Yeah, sucking for
exactly.
air.
Looking at
As you,
me like,
as you,
do you like me? Do you like me? Am I?
yeah, as you pick the meat off its back, you know.
Hey, that might be a good segue. I got you something, buddy.
Oh, Atari man. Oh, that's my favorite. Ah, that is
So,
my favorite Japanese snack. I used to be a social smoker, but then once I got in a established relationship, my significant other said, "No more smoking, dude." And I asked some Japanese friends. I said, "Do Atari me?" I was like, "Oh, no way!" And man, the oral fixation after like a couple weeks, it was
okay.
gone.
That's
Yeah,
cool. I'm
but
gonna
it's good.
pull
I
a
love
piece.
it.
I'm gonna pull a piece out for the people to see, and it's
Oh yeah,
a dried squid. Yeah.
oh yeah, I love it.
Oh man, the stank is pretty pretty really shice. It's really quite fishy. But
It is.
eat it. I'm not gonna eat it right now because I'll be chewing on it, as you know. But there's how you.
Oh yeah, my mouth's watering right now. I
Oh,
really want to
nice.
eat that.
Well, while I'm at it, let me continue with something else I picked up for you, buddy.
Oh my God, the black goma, the sesame, roasted sesame crackers. Oh my God, I used to eat those in my car on the way home from work.
That's senbei or a rice.
Sembe, yeah.
This one has black sesame in it, which James told me. And
Oh yeah, oh man, I love those. I could eat the whole bag.
well, you're absolutely right on this one.
You like that?
It does. Sesame is a big thing here. It's goma.
Goma, yeah.
So goma is in a lot of the food. What is it called? Goma dore.
Oh yeah,
Goma dressing.
I love that.
Caesar dressing, and so on. As you said, weird food and wild food. What are some of the other things that you enjoyed Japanese food wise?
Well, yeah, I love traveling. So, I bought this book. It was written by this guy named John Ashburn. It's Lonely Planet, World Food, Japan. And I started reading about the different kinds of food. And every place I went, I go to the izakaya or I go to a restaurant. I said, I want to try this food. They're like, okay, I mean, Okinawa, I ate like black squid ink, soba.
Okinawa has the one with the pig's ears. The pig ears.
I ate that. Yeah, pig's ears, mimiga. I had that. Yeah. Hokkaido, I had to try the ramen with the corn in it and the butter. And everywhere I went, I wanted to try the local food. But when I was in America, I was very picky. I wouldn't eat the food a lot of times. But once I got to Japan, you're at school lunch with these kids, and the kids think you're a teacher, and you only eat half your lunch. The kids are like, "Hey, James Sensei didn't eat his lunch. I'm not going to eat mine." And the teacher's like, "You need to
Eat
set
your
a good
lunch.
example and eat your lunch." And I'm like, "I don't know what this is." They're like, "Eat it."
Eat it. You're eating it. Yeah, you got to toe the line, baby.
Oh, I can eat anything now. I've eaten horse. I've eaten raw meat.
Masashi. It's raw horse, right? I had a bit of a problem with that because I love horses, and I'm like, oh,
I do too.
I'm so sorry. You're so delicious. Some more.
Oh yeah. One of my girlfriends tricked me. She ordered me some stuff called, what was it called? Oh my God, I forgot what it is now. Shirako. And I said, "What's shirako?" She goes, "Just eat it." It was sushi, one of those nori makis. And on top, it had this, looked like worms. And I was like, "I don't want to eat this." And the guy at the sushi place was watching me. She goes, "Just eat one." I ate it. Oh my God, it was all milky and nasty. I swallowed it down with some beer. And then she grabbed one and ate the other one. I was like, "What was that?" She was like, "You just ate cod sperm, about 2,000 of them. And it's gonna make good babies. If you eat a lot of that, it's gonna." I was like, "Oh my God." Oh, it's so nasty. But she was like munching it, just smiling and so happy. And I was like, All right, I just ate the male reproductive organs of a cod raw.
I was afraid you were going to go there. There's one weird one. You know the inoshishi, the wild
Oh
pig.
yeah, oh yeah.
When they're gutting it, when they're butchering it, they'll take a section of its digestive tract when it's filled itself up on the yamamomo,
Yeah.
mountain peach, and they'll eat that section of the intestinal tract. Apparently, it's quite delicious. Would you care for some intestinal tract?
I do know about that.
You heard about that one? Any travel tips for the Kansai area, James?
Well, you know what's funny is you talked about the Danjiri Matsuri. So when I first went to Kansai, I got to the little travel information booth at the Osaka station, and I asked the lady, I said, "What's going on today?" She said, "Well, there's the Danjiri Matsuri, but you're gonna have to ride like 5 trains to get there, and when you get there, it might be over. Or there's a baseball game." What's that?
Oh, the baseball.
Yeah, and then she said there's a baseball game, Giants versus Tigers at Kochian at 6 o'clock. The Tigers are terrible, so it should be easy to get tickets. I said, all right, I'm gonna go to the baseball game. And then I met my friends, and one of the guys I met that day in year 2000 became the best man at my wedding.
Oh, cool. Hey,
so
show
again,
the
it was
book again,
fate.
James.
Oh yeah,
Is he on the back cover there?
yeah. He's this guy. He's with my wife here. Right here. This guy with the yellow, happy, and that's my wife.
He looks happy. Oh, very nice.
Oh yeah, he's always happy. He's a Buddhist monk out in his real life, and then in the baseball stadium, he lets out all his frustrations. And
awesome. You told me last time we talked about a little like jailette that's underneath Koshien Stadium. It just too rowdy. That was kind of cool. And our mutual friend who was also on Shane Barkley of Japan Ball.
Right.
Yeah, he told me that stadium, which is now in its 101st year of existence, was in fact built for the high school baseball tournament.
Right. Yeah. It's like, yeah. In fact, that's what's so weird. When I first started following the Hanshin Tigers, most of the month of August, the Tigers have to play road games. They call it the road of death.
Yeah.
Because they're on the road for like 24 days. I'm like, in America or Canada, would a pro team give up their stadium for a bunch of high schoolers? I'm like, no way. But that's, again, it's culture, and it's
must accept.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. But yeah, it's an awesome stadium. They've remodeled it so it feels a little more like, a current stadium. But when I first got there, I mean, there was dust and dirt and
grimy, eh?
Yeah, there's benches and people sleeping outside, and
yeah, they've brushed it up nicely, but it still has that. I left the stadium. Is it Arlington, Texas? They made it look a little bit retro.
Right, that one.
Yeah, it's quite beautiful. The Hanshin Tigers suck. So if it's
that's why I like them.
No offense. Well, I'm a Toronto boy, so as a Leaf fan, I quite understand sucky teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I found, here in Arizona, I followed the Cleveland Indians. They haven't won the World Series since 1948. People have lived entire life spans without seeing them win. And
like Cleveland.
Yeah, and the Tigers have only won once in 1935 till now. What's that? 85 years, something like that. So when I went to Kochian, the first time I said, these people are just like Cleveland Indians fans, except they're Japanese. They're gluttons for punishment, but they work together as a team. They love baseball. They love their team through thick and thin. And I said, this is great. I'm home. I found my niche in a foreign country.
And the atmosphere at any baseball stadium in Japan is quite different than North America, where we're just sitting there having some pops and watching a casual fly ball into center field. Here, they're on their noisemakers like 90.
Oh yeah.
North.
Yeah, I got mine here. you gotta sing a song in Japanese. You're supposed to be drinking beer, eating karime and goma crackers, and you gotta clap these things in unison to the drum beat, and then 3 verses later they change the tune, and you gotta go again. I mean, it's an exercise in teamwork. It's an exercise in strength.
Well,
And
our boy
can you make
Shane was quite smitten with the beer girls who have a small keg on their back and are walking around the seats, just pouring off straight from the keg. So it's nice, fresh.
oh yeah, I couldn't
Asahi
believe
Super
that. They're like,
Dry.
yeah, they're like college girls carrying these 30 23 30 kilogram kegs on their back. It's 95 degrees outside. They got a smile on their face, and they're pouring beer and flirting with the old guys buying it. And oh my God, talk about marketing. I
Yeah,
came back to
baby.
America. I said, in America, you go to a ball game, it's like a sweaty guy with beard stubble, and here they have like 18, 20-year-old girls selling beer. Why not? It doesn't make
Heinekens.
sense.
Get your Heinekens.
I know.
Yeah, no, sex sells, baby. Get a
Yeah, I know. It's
Get a
amazing.
girl.
Why? I think the Japanese are so incredible with
Can't
marketing.
fault
And,
Shane for that. Actually, I talked with him a little bit about a Japanese ball player that went over to the Anaheim team. Otani, have you seen?
oh, Shohei Ohtani, you're right. Yeah.
Now, I learned from one of my Japanese friends because there's a certain samurai fighting style that's both swords.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it. don't know what it's called, but yeah.
But I forget the Japanese word for it as well, but that's what they call Otani because he pitches and hits. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. So yeah,
He's amazing. He's
Yeah.
doing well. He hit a home run and pitched last week. So yeah, everyone in Japan's proud of him. Everyone in America is cheering for him. And yeah, I try to watch the games as often as I can.
well, I love it when the Japanese players go over and just kick butt. Ichiro is my favorite, but because he was such a sportsman. When he left the Mariners, they have a picture of him bowing to the crowd in Seattle there, and just doing it with class and dignity. You never hear about drugs or
No.
driving or any drama. Well, not never, but it's much more rare with the Japanese because they're just well mannered.
Yeah, they're devoted to their craft. I mean, you know, if you're a baseball player, you're devoted to your craft. If you're a sushi chef, you're devoted to your craft. If you're a ramen guy, you're devoted to your craft. If you're a teacher, I mean,
Yeah,
that's why
absolutely.
they call him sensei. You're supposed to be an expert, and you focus on that. And it's hard. It's a hard concept for non-Japanese to figure out. But yeah, it's amazing. And when you start meeting people like that and watching them work, you really respect them because they hone their craft their whole lives. So something I respected their work ethic too.
Yeah, I've heard a Japanese expression: if you sit on a rock for 3 years, eventually you'll get warm. Attitude of perseverance and stick-to-itiveness. Do you guys have any plans to visit?
Well, my wife and kids have Japanese passports, so they can visit, but unfortunately I don't. So I think it's going to be maybe not till the autumn or next year, but I've gotten both vaccinations. So I'm free to travel in America, but the Japanese, government is obviously cautious. So I'd love to get back and get to the baseball stadium and see everyone, see my mother-in-law there and friends, but I think it's going to have to wait because,
Yeah.
this
Understand. Well, while you're in Arizona, get some of that Mexican food for us.
Oh yeah, I just ate some about an hour ago. So
Awesome. That's one thing I do miss about life in multicultural societies. But I think this one's better for having just Japanese. But in your job, you were saying you have like Brits and Aussies and Canadians, Americans, Italians. It sounds like my football team where I call it the bloody UN, United Nations, because everybody, and our mutual friend Nat is down there, English lad, yeah. How,
Yeah, Nat and I were both ALTs in Guma, and they started this soccer team, football team, whatever. And I played soccer when I was 8 to like 14 years old. So I'm like, I'm 32, 33. I'm sure I could play soccer. So I just joined this team just to meet the guys, and we could travel to different tournaments. I I, I was so bad after like 3 months, they traded me to another prefecture's team at a tournament. Um, they're like, James, you're traded to Yamanashi Prefecture. I was like, for who? They're like, we didn't want anybody in return. They just needed a player. Um,
a bag
so
of balls. Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
but it was fun, and I met a lot of people, and I met Nat, and I'm still friends with him. I'd taken Nat to Koshien. It was freezing cold, but it was in April one time. But
Did you think
yeah,
it
he's
was
a good friend of
cricket?
mine.
Did you
What's
think it
that?
was cricket?
Yeah, I know. I told him ahead of time. He was jumped right in and understood it, I think so. But yeah, that there you go. I mean, when I was in Guma, like I mentioned before, we didn't have cell phones. I mean, we had little flip top phones,
Right.
but we didn't have the internet. We had to make friends. I knew some British people before. I knew some Canadians, but we'd watch American football on Tuesday nights and have a potluck and bring some food. And here I am talking to a girl from Texas. I'm talking to a girl from London. I've got a friend from Edmonton, Alberta. A friend from African American from Georgia. I mean, we're just like all hanging out together. And I was like, man, back home, this would never happen. But we needed each other, and we vented and we learned.
Well,
And
you kind of mentioned that the difference in the friendships is sometimes a lot of these people, they leave like 2 or 3 years into their life in Japan, and we're not far from the the American consul residents here
oh,
in Nishinomiya, and those guys they have a 3-year term. So don't get, if it's one of those guys, don't get too attached because they're here and then they're not, and it's just
yeah.
quick.
Yeah, I adapted, but like I mentioned, I made a lot of Japanese friends, and the Japanese people don't leave. So
Exactly.
yeah, so that I learned to have a good balance. Japanese friends, foreign friends, and yeah, a great time. I'm still friends with a lot of them, and I value the friendships there. It's like I think it's like being in the military. You always see people wearing like Vietnam War stuff and talking. Go to the VFW post and have a beer and tell war stories. It's just like us with living in Japan. That's why I wrote the book. I'm like, man, this is the greatest time of my life. I want to share it with people.
Did I ask
And
you, has it been translated?
not yet. I'm trying to find an affordable translator because the prices I got, it's impossible to afford it. But
I see.
but yeah,
That's
my goal is to make it into like some little novels, like those ones you get at the 7-Eleven, like the little 60-page novelettes. I thought
okay.
about maybe making like a series of 6 or 7
Books
of
called
those.
with anime with the pictures in them as well.
Yeah, there you go.
A graphic novel.
No, the graphic novel. That's what I'm leaning towards, because I really want, I think Japanese people might find my point of view interesting, and the
Absolutely,
fact that I
dude.
didn't
That's
give
why
up.
we started Gaijin TV, is to get like the Gaijin, the foreigners' perspective on things in Japan, which I also think that the Japanese might like to hear how are foreigners, taking it in and adjusting as in our cases. Hey, I got one more for you, bro.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, Papico Ice. Oh my God. Yeah, that helped me cure my nicotine addiction too. You just suck on one of those. It's nice. It's a Coke bottle, but it tastes like coffee.
Oh yeah, I'm going to show the peeps here. There are two of them stuck together. I wish I could give it to you, bro, but
Yeah.
my
Oh
children are
man,
going to thank you for it. Here.
I used to eat those for dessert all the time.
Well, one thing about the Japanese, the snack culture and the food culture is the research and development. They're always changing. Like the potato chips. I think I just had like seafood bula-based potato corn doodles, cheese doodles. It's Kobe beef cheese doodles. Are you kidding me? Fantastic.
Yeah.
in my country, when they get, say, for example, the Reese's peanut butter cup. Okay, we got it. All you guys in research and development, you're fired because we have our product. We're just going to sales now. No, get some almonds in there. How about some honey? Do something, change it up. They're continually, what's it called? Not Kego. I forget the name, but the constant improvement.
Yeah.
Every year, this product is going to get better and better. So
I agree. The beer, the wine, the snacks,
absolutely,
everything has a different. Yeah,
Scotch whiskey just took the Ballon d'Or in his Yamazaki Scotch. I hear a Scottish guy. What the hell are these nippers doing? Think got that good Scotch. Give me that. Oh, it's better than my puppies.
Yeah, you got it. I thought the same thing. My friend from New York, he'd always take a bottle of Yamazaki or Suntory whiskey back to New York to his dad. And I'm like, why are you doing that? He can buy, delicious Scotch. And then I tasted it. I was like, wow, that is, no hangover, nothing. I was smooth. I was like, yeah, I'm impressed with everything they do there, and I still am. So
I heard it has something to do with the charcoal filters they use. So I'm going to wrap it up, James. But if you don't mind, could you hit us again with the deets on how to get your book, how to get Bad Foreigner?
Yeah, Bad Foreigner. It's for sale on Amazon, and you can get it on Kindle Unlimited too if you just want to read some pages and preview it. But yeah, it's $5.99 if you want to buy it on Kindle, and $15.99 if you want an actual paperback. But it's all on Amazon. I wrote in the little blurb that's on the page for my book. It's like a Lost in Translation meets Among the Thugs, because a Lost in Translation, Bill Murray, he's there for 2 weeks. I mean, I was there for 12 years. Every day it was like, all of a sudden I'm walking around, I'm lost in a bar, and then I've got this guy around me and I'm singing karaoke with him. Okay. I mean, that didn't happen for 2 weeks in Tokyo. It happened for 12 years in all over the place. And it was just such a life-changing experience. The baseball friends, the romances, the teaching, the people I met through work, the people I met on the street, people I met in the ballpark. It changed my life for the better, and I just wanted to share that story with people. So I hope.
Absolutely, man. Thank you again for joining us today. I say that Japan, it's made us better as Gaijin, because you go to that standard, to the higher standard.
Oh yeah, it's made me a better person, and I share my experiences with people every day if they want to listen. So
well, that's why good on you for the book.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, Michael. I really appreciate talking to you. I always get a good laugh, and I've been watching your channel, and I wish you the best. My kids watched it; they thought it was great too. So
yeah, sorry, I gotta cut down the swearing in it because I want it for kids as well. I was just gonna.
That's okay. They've heard it on the
I'll try and do better with that. All right. Thanks for joining us, James.
Okay, Michael. Yeah. Go hunting tigers. Yeah. Dame Gaijin. Bad Foreigner. Check it out.
Cool. Ciao.
Okay,